Hello, welcome to the Radiant You podcast. This is season 1 and it is episode 8. It is an episode that was supposed to be finished up at the beginning of the week. Unfortunately, I got the crud and was unable to record until now. So I'm recording now this part 3 of a 3-part series, and it is called If You Give Yourself an Inch. So this is based on the phrase, if you give them an inch, then they'll take a mile. So let's review from the last time. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. It means that if you yield even a little, you might end up giving more than you intended. And when we do this to ourselves, it often looks like broken boundaries, promises, boundaries that we set for our own well-being, our routines, self-discipline, and our personal commitments. We learned in the past 2 episodes that we need to resist the urge to take a mile. One setback doesn't undo all of the progress. It's about getting back on track and not letting one mistake define you. Balance is the key. It's okay to enjoy life's indulgences as long as you don't let them derail your long-term goals. Keep the focus on consistency. The most important thing is showing up for yourself, even on those challenging days. Get 1% better every day. As James Clear teaches us, the small, consistent steps compound over time and lead to big results. Set intentions. Begin each day, each action with a clear intention. Your intentions guide you towards your goals and help create the life you desire. When we set strong intentions, we're better equipped to resist distractions and setbacks. So today, the title of our part 3 is episode 8, Building Radiant Habits and Embracing Small Wins. I am so excited to have you here. So lots of good stuff that I just reviewed from what we had in the past 2 episodes, part 1 and part 2. Today, in this episode, we're diving in to the power of small wins and daily habits. How the tiniest, most consistent actions can transform your life, build confidence, and nurture your most radiant self. Many of us dismiss small steps, thinking that they're insignificant. But the truth is, small changes lead to massive transformation over time. How staying consistent can build a lifestyle that supports your radiance. So get ready. Grab a notebook, journal, and something to write with. Or if you're driving, plan to listen, but then come back and listen again to take notes. Don't forget your coffee, your tea, your water, whatever you need to settle in and fully be in this space with me. Let's go. We're starting with the power of small wins. We often overlook the power of these wins, the small wins, dismissing them as insignificant. But in reality, these small victories fuel our momentum and motivation, proving that progress is built step by step. Give yourself an inch, but don't take a mile. A moment when I almost dismissed a small win, but later realized its impact on my daily life. Something so small that I started intentionally drinking more water every day. And weeks later, I noticed my energy levels improved. Something so small as drinking more water helped so much in my intention of reaching and claiming overall wellness. Small progress is still progress, and consistency matters more than perfection. So here's the science behind small wins and consistency. James Clear, in Atomic Habits, teaches us that success isn't about making massive changes overnight. It's about mastering small, repeatable actions that stack over time. By linking new habits to existing ones, we create effortless routines that lead to lasting change. I started putting my workout clothes in my bathroom at night so that when I see them in the morning, it's easier to put them on and get going. Also, for years, I have enjoyed my coffee and journaling together. When I first started that, I didn't realize that it was a thing. This thing is called habit stacking, and it's a powerful way to make new behaviors automatic. Consistency is the real game changer. Progress compounds over time, even if it feels invisible at first. Think of it like compound interest for your habits. 1 glass of water in the morning leads to better hydration. 5 minutes of stretching each day leads to greater flexibility and mobility over time. Writing 1 sentence in a gratitude journal shifts your mindset and builds appreciation for the present moment. The beauty of small wins is that they create a ripple effect, strengthening our confidence and reinforcing our identity as someone who follows through. When we recognize these wins, no matter how small, we build momentum, which makes it easier to stay on track. The give yourself an inch, don't take a mile mindset. Smaller wins should be stepping stones, not permission to slide backward. There's a difference between giving yourself grace and giving up on your goals. It's about balance, celebrating progress while staying mindful not to undo the hard work that you've put in. We've all been there. We skip one workout, then suddenly a week has gone by. We indulge in dessert and think, well, I've already messed up today, so I'll keep on going. We've missed one journal session, then struggle to get back at it again. This is why consistency, not perfection, is the key. If you veer off track, don't wait for the perfect moment to restart. Just begin again with the next small step. Success is building on showing up. It's built on showing up, even imperfectly, day after day, recognizing and celebrating those small wins. Here's the thing. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is not acknowledging our progress. We tend to focus on what we haven't done rather than celebrating what we have. Every small choice you make matters. Take a moment to reflect. What's one small win that you've had this week that you may not have celebrated? Maybe you drank more water. You took a mindful breath before reacting, or you rested. You chose rest over burnout. For me, I started a Move More challenge with my closest friends. For Lent, which is 40 days, we are to move daily for at least 30 minutes. And then we text everyone in our little group to have that accountability. It's a small thing, but every small step counts. I'd love for you to share your wins with me because together we can create momentum, practical habits for a radiant life. This is our next section of this, and I want you to really, really pay attention. It is so important to have practical habits in place in order for us to really feel and really be radiant. Radiance isn't just about how we look. It's about how we feel and the energy that we bring to life. Research shows that our daily habits shape our overall wellness more than occasional big changes. As James Clear says, every action you take is a vote for the person that you wish to become. By prioritizing small, intentional habits, we gain more energy and focus. Morning routines, movement, and hydration boost our brain function and our mood. We have emotional resilience. Gratitude and self-care reduce stress and support mental well-being. We gain a greater sense of joy and purpose. Living with intention creates fulfillment and momentum. Here are a few essential habits to cultivate a truly radiant life. Morning rituals that set the tone. How you start the morning shapes your mindset, productivity, and stress levels. Why it matters. Studies show that structured morning routines improve focus, reduce anxiety, and boost emotional resilience. Simple morning habits that might help. Hydrate first. Lately, probably the last several months, I have been drinking a glass of water before I drink coffee. That's huge for me, but it's something small, something simple. It replenishes fluids. It jumpstarts my metabolism. I delay screen time. This avoids overstimulation. It improves clarity. The only thing that I allow myself to do, and usually within probably the first hour and a half to 2 hours, I will get on and I will look at my devotion that I have that comes to me through my email. That's all I look at. And then I go back to my journaling and my coffee. I try to move my body. A quick stretch or a walk, it boosts circulation and mood. Practice mindfulness. A few minutes of that journaling that I was talking about, or prayer, or deep breathing sets an intentional tone. Another I want you to understand is self-care as a foundation. Self-care isn't indulgence. It's how we stay balanced and avoid burnout. Why it matters. Research confirms that consistent self-care lowers stress hormones, improves sleep, and strengthens our immunity. Simple self-care practices. Prioritize rest. Adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep for optimal function. Nourish well. Whole, nutrient-dense foods support brain and body health. Set boundaries. Limit social media. Protect energy. And say no when needed. Go back and listen to my second and I think my third episodes, and you will hear all about how boundaries help the radiant self. Another is gratitude, a simple shift for more joy. Gratitude rewires our brain for positivity, resilience, and deeper fulfillment. Why it matters. Neuroscience shows gratitude strengthens neural pathways linked to happiness and stress reduction. Daily gratitude practices. Keep a gratitude journal. Write 3 things that you're thankful for. Sometimes I like to do it at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Express appreciation. Tell someone what you value about them. We don't do that enough. Reframe our challenges. Ask, what can this teach me? Awareness of what really you can learn from a challenge is amazing. Another is mindful movement. Even a few minutes counts. Movement isn't just about fitness. It's about energy, clarity, and emotional well-being. Why it matters. Studies show even 10 of daily movement improves mood, circulation, and cognitive function. Ways to move effortlessly. Stretch or walk between tasks. I have to do this in between clients. I see many clients throughout the day and I can get pretty stiff. So if I stretch, walk in place, do what I need to do in my office to make sure that I am moving more, boy, does that make a difference. Dance to his favorite song. Joyful movement boosts the mood instantly. Try 5 minutes of yoga or Pilates or deep breathing before bed. Another thing that I think is so important is to be intentional about your bookending. Here it is, bookending your day, morning and evening intentions. Just as a strong morning routine sets you up for success, an intentional evening routine ensures restful sleep and renewal. Why it matters. The sleep foundation highlights that consistent nighttime habits, your nighttime routine, I call it sleep hygiene, regulates circadian rhythms, improving rest and emotional balance. Evening habits that promote this deep rest can be reduce your screen time. Blue light disrupts the melatonin. Did you know that? Great research has been done on that. Journal or reflect. Acknowledge wins and set intentions. Create a relaxation ritual, tea, stretching, or breathing exercises. Here's the thing. The quality of our lives is shaped by the small habits that we practice daily. Whether it's drinking more water, moving with intention, or setting boundaries, each choice contributes to greater vitality, clarity, and joy. What habit has had the biggest impact on your overall wellness? James Clear says, in the long run, the quality of our lives often depends on the quality of our habits. Let's take a look now at how small daily actions lead to long-term radiance. Lasting transformation isn't about making huge, dramatic changes overnight. It's about small, consistent actions that build momentum over time. Research shows that micro habits, when repeated consistently, lead to exponential results. As James Clear explains in his book, Atomic Habits, success is the product of daily choices, not once in a while breakthroughs. So how do we shift from waiting for motivation to create real, lasting change? We break the all or nothing mindset. One of the biggest barriers to long-term progress is the belief if we can't do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. This mindset leads to inconsistency, frustration, and burnout. I know I'm not perfect. I know this podcast is not perfect, and I want to do more with it, but I'm doing it. I know it's worth doing. Why small steps matter. Research on habit formation shows that even tiny efforts rewire our brain for success. Progress compounds over time. 1% better every day leads to major transformation. Success isn't about the intensity. It's about consistency. An example, instead of committing to an hour-long workout every day and quitting after a week, start with a 5 to 10 minute movement. Once it becomes a habit, increase from there. I have in the past fallen into this all or nothing trap and how it shifted my mindset. Here's the thing. A long time ago, quite a few years ago, I was told by a doctor, my great, wonderful doctor, that it would be best if I didn't do or didn't have gluten, dairy, nightshades, etc. He gave me this huge list of probably 5 things that would be best for me and all the things that those things were triggering in my body. All at once was my all or nothing trap. I started right away with gluten-free, dairy-free, nightshades free, all the other things that I had on that list. I did them all at the same time. Whoa. That was an all or nothing trap for me. I realized that there was no way that I was going to be able to continue on that path of all, because it went to all or nothing, right? Oh, forget it. I might as well just not do it. I revamped it. I was able to look at that and do small steps, one thing at a time. And it kind of reminds me, I know this is goofy, but it kind of reminds me of that song in the Christmas special, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. They sing one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor, one foot in front of the other. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. It just takes one step. One step builds on the other step. So I was able to realize that I didn't have to do all of those. I started with gluten-free. Then I went to dairy-free. Then I was able to add the others. And I still do the best I can do with all of it. I really look at what is the best thing for me in those moments, and I take those steps. Each step builds on the other. So don't forget that song. It's kind of cute, but boy, do I envision it. I envision them walking across and taking one foot, put one foot in front of the other. Yes, I'm singing on my podcast. Oh my goodness. Anyways, so here's something else that I want us to listen and pay attention to: the sneaky ways that we unintentionally let go of self-care and how to reclaim it. Sometimes without even realizing it, we drift away from the self-care habits that support our well-being. Life gets busy. We are reminded that it's easy to fall off track, but small daily actions can help us return to our self-care practices and reclaim our overall wellness. Recognizing or being aware of when we drift away from our self-care is really important. Yes, our life gets busy without realizing it. And without realizing it, we forget those practices that kept us grounded and energized. Have to become aware and recognize the subtle shifts in that, the first step in reclaiming the balances. We have to. So let me repeat that, because I don't know that I made it very clear. Recognizing these subtle shifts is the first step in reclaiming our balance. That sounds way better. So here are some signs that we may be drifting away from our self-care. You feel constantly drained. You're always tired, even after a full night's sleep. Your mood is off. Some things irritate you more than usual, and you feel emotionally overwhelmed. You've stopped doing things that make you feel good, that bring a smile to your face. Activities like reading, walking, journaling, or even a simple skincare routine that easily can get pushed aside. You reach for quick fixes. Instead of nourishing food, rest, or movement, you rely on caffeine, sugar, or scrolling to cope. You say, I don't have time a lot. Self-care feels like an afterthought sometimes, something that you'll get to when everything else is done. I have shared in the past, we have to take in that oxygen before we can help give someone else their oxygen. Just like the plane ride. Those flight attendants work really hard to tell us how to be safe. Something to think about. So why this happens? Well, we have stressful, busy schedules, right? We are caregivers and we have huge responsibilities. Those usually take priority. Another might be guilt, feeling like self-care is selfish or unproductive. Forgetting that self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity for emotional, mental, and physical well-being. So bringing awareness back. This is what we can do. Number one, pause and check in with yourself. Ask, when was the last time I did something for me, for just me? Number two, notice your energy levels. Are you running on empty? Number three, Reframe self-care. Instead of seeing it as an indulgence, remind yourself that caring for myself allows me to show up better in every area of my life. Choose one simple self-care action today, even if it's just a deep breath, a glass of water, 5 minutes of stillness. Your radiance starts with awareness. I have become more mindful by being aware of an opportunity to build a gratitude habit. And I want you to think about this. This is something so simple. It was brought to my attention about 1.5 years ago when I was at a conference and looking at how food gets to our table. It's just taking that little bit of moment there and being mindful. I started doing this when I make my coffee at night. It's part of my habit that I have instilled intentionally. Before I go to bed, before I head to the bedroom, I make my coffee and I get it ready for the next day. Push that button and it starts the next day. Great, right? Oh, it's wonderful. But here is something that I started doing just a little while ago that I think about the people that touched that coffee bean, right? I start thinking about the field that those plants grew in, the people that helped to get it to the factory. I take in deep breaths. I'm aware of what this coffee that I love brings to my life in that moment. I'm grateful for all the different things that happen along the way to get those beans grounded up, put in that jar, that can, that packaging. And then I'm even grateful for the way it gets to the stores. However that is, I just take those few moments. It's actually seconds of just being thankful and full of gratitude for every step of the way for something so simple. My coffee. When I prep that at night in my nighttime routine, yes, it's easier and it's more efficient for my morning routine. But the coffee that I get the next day, it's already blessed me because I've been able to look at it more mindfully. It's just something that I do. It's just a habit that I started making the coffee at night that not only helps with the 1% better, it makes it, I give it, goodness sakes, it gives me an intentional time to think about and think over my day, but also how did this get here? And I find ways to be thankful and grateful. And it kind of officially closes my day. This little habit has changed my life so much. Who knew? Anyways, another thing, understanding the plateau of latent potential. One of the most frustrating parts of building new habits is that progress isn't always visible right away. What is this plateau of latent potential? Here it is. Imagine an ice cube sitting at 25 degrees. If you slowly raise the temperature, nothing happens until it hits 32. And suddenly it begins to melt. This is how progress works. Small daily actions may not seem like they're making a difference, but they're building beneath the surface. The ice cube is melting inside out. Here's another example. Learning a new skill, improving fitness, or shifting mindset. It all takes time before we see the results. Choose one small daily habit and commit to it for 7 days. It could be drinking that glass of water in the morning, writing a sentence in your journal, your gratitude journal, moving your body for 5 minutes, taking 3 deep breaths before reacting. Progress isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even in the smallest ways. It's also about being patient as each of those habits make a difference. Small daily actions lead to a radiant life. Number 4, the one day turns into many challenge. We all know the feeling You miss a day, indulge in something off plan, or skip a habit, and suddenly there's that little voice inside of you saying, well, I already messed up. Might as well keep going. But James Clear, in his book, Atomic Habits, teaches us that small setbacks are part of the process and they don't need to derail our progress. It's about showing up consistently, even when things aren't perfect. The biggest takeaway here is that consistency doesn't mean perfection. I've repeated this a lot in this series. It's the ability to keep going, even when the things aren't perfect, and not letting the one small mistake snowball you into a full setback. I have repeated this because it's important. I have definitely experienced this urge before, where a small mistake or indulgence leads to that, well, I blew it feeling, and the momentum starts to slip. But instead of letting that moment define me, I remind myself one slip up doesn't define me. It's just part of the process. The key is to not make the mistake bigger than it is. If you take a step back, it's okay to take another step forward. It's not about restricting yourself entirely. It's about keeping that commitment to the journey. That commitment doesn't disappear because of one indulgence. So if you take that extra slice of cake or you skip a workout, don't let it spiral. Give yourself grace. Learn from it. Get back on track. Start again. Begin again. It's important to shift away from the mentality of the all or nothing, like I talked about, and instead embrace a more compassionate, balanced approach to self-discipline. As James Clear says, it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent and getting 1% better every day. Every step counts, whether it's a small one or a big one. Resist the urge to take a mile by reminding yourself that it's not about perfection. I keep saying that. It's about showing up for yourself, no matter how small the action may seem. So when you find yourself slipping, remember, it's not one small decision that defines you. It's what you do next. Don't let one misstep turn into a mile in the wrong direction. Give yourself grace, refocus, and take the next small step forward. That's how real progress is made. What's one habit or routine where you've caught yourself slipping into that all or nothing mindset? How did you get back on track? Here's another very important piece to this. And I don't remember if I did the numbers or not, but this is number 5. I'll go back and repeat those. This is creating your radiant habit roadmap. In the context of the Radiant You, a roadmap is a clear, intentional guide that helps you build habits, mindset shifts, and daily practices that lead to lasting confidence, self-trust, and personal empowerment. It's not about rigid rules or quick fixes. It's about creating a sustainable path that aligns with who you want to become. Ultimately, this roadmap is about consistent, intentional choices that cultivate your radiance, not overnight, but every day through small, powerful habits that reflect your worth. Here's the thing. The more I researched this section of part 3, I was struggling with a clear definition or foundation of creating the Radiant Habit Roadmap. And this is what I finally came up with. And I love it because it really resonates with my soul. The foundation, a building block, is our why. It is important to know and understand your why. Knowing and understanding your why is the foundation of your Radiant You habit roadmap. It gives meaning to the habits you build and keeps you anchored when motivation fades. Your why, the heart of your Radiant Habit roadmap. Before setting habits, ask yourself, What does radiant mean to me? Why do I want to feel more radiant, confident, and energized? How will these habits support the life I truly want? Who am I becoming through this process? Your why acts as your inner compass. When the challenges arise, it reminds you why you started and keeps you moving forward. Integrating your why into your roadmap. Let's go over some of these. Number 1, define your core motivation. Example, I want to prioritize my well-being so I can show up with energy and presence for myself and my loved ones. Number 2, align habits with your identity. Instead of just saying, I need to exercise, shift to, I am a person who moves daily because it energizes and empowers me. 3, use your why as a guide when you feel stuck. When you struggle with consistency, reconnect to your deeper reason. I'm doing this because I deserve to feel vibrant and strong. Number 4, celebrate your progress, not perfection. Small steps matter. Each action reinforces your identity and strengthens your belief in yourself. When you know your why, building small habits becomes easier because they are rooted in purpose. Your habits naturally align with the person you want to become, reinforcing your identity along the way. And as you keep small promises to yourself, you strengthen self-trust, building the confidence to show up for yourself every day. Your why fuels your radiance. It turns habits into something deeper, an expression of self-love and personal empowerment. Without it, habits feel like obligations. With it, they become part of a fulfilling, radiant life. Ponder this for a moment. Radiance isn't built in a day, but it's built every day. This reminds me of a conversation I had with my husband. He once told me, everyone has the information at their fingertips. If they want to look, they will find it. Why is yours special or different? Now, he didn't say this to me to discourage me. He said it to challenge me and to reflect on my why. The truth is, I am not unique. My information is not unique. But my voice, my presence, and my story are. No one else is me, and no one else is you. We each have a truth, a light, a purpose that no one else can replicate. And we get to share our story, our truth, and our unique gifts. So why continue the Radiant You journey? Because no matter what, I know that God has given me a voice and an idea, a platform I feel strongly about, and it radiates into so many layers of my life. The Radiant You is an umbrella under which I share my thoughts, gifts, truths, and uniqueness. I know that 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3. This is known as pod fade. 50% of the remaining podcasts don't make it past episode 7. So only 5% of all podcasts reach episode 8. Fewer than 10% of the podcasts make it past 20 episodes. And only 1% of podcasts reach 100 episodes. But here I am, episode 8. And to that I say, don't you know I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. And I'm still standing after all this time. And it goes on and on and on. Thank you, Elton John. Look it up. It's a great song. So let's review a few key takeaways from today. Excuse me. When we're able to look back and see what we need for each of our wins and our amazing, radiant you life, we have to look at the power of small wins. We have to look at practical habits for a radiant life. We have to be able to look at how small daily actions lead to long-term radiance. So looking at your why and knowing what it's going to take to get you to keep these habits and build radiance in your life. Think about that. Consistency, not perfection. That is the key to lasting transformation. Remember, radiance isn't built in a day. It's built every day. So to wrap up, if you're ready, like I am, to get your good habits back on track, begin by treating yourself with kindness and self-compassion. Acknowledge that you are human. Recommit to the helpful habits that are important to you, and just start again. Choose one small habit and commit for 1 week. Tag me on social media or share in the comments. Let's celebrate that together. This is the conclusion of our series. Yeah, give yourself an inch. Let's see what we can do when we give ourselves an inch, but also keep moving. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this episode resonates with you, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone that you care about. I appreciate you. I truly want you to know how grateful I am that you're here, choosing to nurture your light. Remember, radiance is a journey, and by showing up, you're already on that path. Together, we're exploring what it truly means to embrace, celebrate, and shine as your beautiful, radiant self. That's it for now. Shine your light and be the radiant you.